Like I was just like, wow, Kanye is a person that's actually saying the name of Jesus. Like he named his album Jesus is King. Like
That's right.
I'm a Christian artist and I don't have an album that say nothing about Jesus specifically like that. You know, I always was trying to figure out ways to kind of get my music to break through, not just for Christians, but for people that would never step foot in the church or wouldn't even know who God is.
That's right.
And so I was trying to figure out little ways to get to them. And here's a person that's very successful,
one of the biggest
in the world.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And he's saying the name of Jesus. And that really sparked me for sure. And it's crazy because that inspired me to make my record, the song My God. And all this time I was trying to break through at radio and do these things, and Kanye was talking about Jesus, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna say the name of God in my song, and I'll make it the hook.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I'm like, yeah, I need to proclaim that somebody just got into this.
I love that.
I've been knowing who God is.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so the moment I did that, that was my first big song. That song broke through. The moment I said the name of Jesus and God in my song, I went #1.
Can we talk? Oh, can we talk? Can we talk? R&B.
What's up? What's up? It's your boy Ian Vaughn, the R&B ambassador. Listen, I apologize for the interruption, but I need you guys to help us continue to grow this channel. We're doing such a fantastic job growing, bringing you amazing content from some of our favorite R&B artists and contributors. I need you to do this one little thing: like, comment, subscribe. Subscribe is key. Also, hit the notification bell. This will help us to continue to bring more and more fantastic artists to the platform. So with that said, this is a continuing conversation. Can we talk R&B? Now back to the show. What's up? What's up? It's your boy Ian Vaughn, and we're here for another special episode of the Can We Talk R&B podcast. I know I am the R&B ambassador, but I also am a gospel savant. Okay, I come from the pedigree. All right. Now I have one of the most talented singer, songwriter, producer, just overall dope MFers in the building. I ain't gonna hold you.
Yes.
This is my little brother
from
my hometown, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Jor'dan Armstrong. Man,
hey, man,
thank you for coming to the show. What's good?
Thank you for saying that, man.
Yeah.
You know, I honor you. I look up to you, bro. You know, when I first wanted to get into this professionally, you were one of the most professional people that I knew in the business. Man. So you inspired me. So I honor you, bro.
Man, bro,
yeah.
I appreciate that, bro.
Yeah.
Nah, but you holding it down. Every time I see you, you know, doing all the wonderful things that you're doing.
Thank you.
I'm so proud of you. And I'm like, man, I'm always bigging you up. So I'm like, even if
you,
they ain't never heard of you, I'm like, man, you ain't never heard of Jor'dan Armstrong. But these days, everybody knows you.
Well, not yet. So hopefully after this, they want to know who I am.
Absolutely.
Man.
So
it.
Being like, let's just get right into it, man. Being such, you know, obviously from where we're from.
Yeah.
You know, you didn't really have, we're not from an industry town.
No.
You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot of, we're mostly known for gangster rappers, you know, that's really the pedigree
that's it.
of where we're from. But us being church kids, and obviously we both were, I know I was in the streets in my own ways, you were in the streets in your ways.
Indeed.
Let's go into how you got into the music business, and really, I guess, really what made you fall in love with R&B music in the first place?
Man, first off, you know, growing up in the city, like you said, we're from, you know, it was heavily gangster rap.
Yeah.
And the other side was gospel music for me.
Yeah.
And so I always grew up in all the hoods, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I kind of had what I would call the best of both worlds, with the gospel and the hip hop, you know what I'm saying? And so I think I got to a certain age to where the youth choir wasn't really hitting for me anymore. And I was like, you know, I was having fun growing up in choir. And I think it was about the age of 15, I would say. You know, I was in school and everybody's listening to other things. And so, you know, I would sneak and go listen to some R&B, some rap or whatever. Yeah. And I fell in love with it, man, visiting my cousins. So I had older cousins who were about 5, 6 years older than me, and I would go to their house and they're playing, I mean, Jodeci, you know, No Limit. They got posters on the walls in their room. Like, I'm like, oh my God, this is so dope. And I think it's like the chord changes and the chord structures that I heard from Devontae and from Jodeci, just the harmonies, because it still had that mix of kind of like gospel harmonies, but the chord changes and the way they were singing, I was like, oh my God, what is this?
Yes.
And it was almost like my eyes was open. Like I was like, oh, I want to do that.
Yeah.
And I think that was my transition. Probably 15 on up. After that, I was listening to everybody. Boyz II Men, Babyface. I even started going back, you know, to listen to things that was out before I started listening. And I think that's what changed it all for me, man. That Jodeci, really. That's really, I can map Jodeci is the first kind of R&B that I heard that inspired me.
Yeah, Jodeci has been such a staple.
Yeah.
Across the board, and specifically going back to the 90s during that time when they, you know, took over the game.
Yes.
I always big up Devontae.
Yeah, man.
Because his sound is still to this day such
sir.
a unique sound.
Absolutely.
But it crossed the boundaries of real music, and it was hard.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So I can feel and see your inspiration from Jodeci, specifically how you have your logo.
Oh yeah,
Jordan,
you
know
man.
What I'm saying?
Shout out to them too, because I got a chance to meet Dalvin.
Nice.
And he blessed. He told me, he said, "Oh, you good? You good?" I say, "Can I?" So you see what I'm doing here? I got the necklace, and he was like, "No, man." And I told him how much I honored him. You know what I'm saying? And it was really cool that he just kind of gave me his blessings on that. So shout out to them guys.
Yeah, that's paying homage. That's paying homage to those guys.
Yeah.
I remember. I think when I first met you, this is. I can't remember what year this was, but this was back in the G. And you were performing at this event, and it was like there's some poetry going on. Amos, shout out to Amos.
Yeah, shout out to them.
Was playing, and you sang one of the songs, and I was like, I remember with my team, I was like with Jabari and my brother, Emmett. I was like, man, oh boy, he got something. You know what I'm saying? He got something special.
Yeah.
So at that time, I knew that at this point you're making music.
Yeah.
So what led you to being a fan of music to getting to saying, okay, I'm doing this professionally?
Well, I was always singing. I started singing at the age of 5. I was actually forced to sing. You know, growing up in church, man, they gonna put you in front of everybody in some kind of way.
Sing, baby.
Yeah. So I started singing in the youth choir on Youth Sunday, and next thing I know, I'm singing with the adults as a kid. Yeah. Now they want me to sing every other Sunday. Yeah. And so I knew I had something special when after service, I was getting a whole lot of candy and money, and the church ladies was giving me something. I said, oh, I could do this, because at first it had nothing to do with God. It was all about money. I was like, I'm getting money and candy. Let's go. Yeah. And so, you know, that really sparked me for real, and that really made me realize that's maybe something that I want to get into professionally later on in life. Yeah. And so when I was able to kind of branch off at that age, like 15, 16, that I said, I really dove into trying to do it professionally. And it was hard because I knew all the music that I was listening to, that I was being inspired by, I was trying my best to try to create that same type of quality. Yeah. And it was so hard for me. And I was like, man, I don't even know people that can make stuff like this. Yeah. And so that kind of pushed me into producing and start working on it myself. Right. And honestly, I made a lot of music that was, if I listen back now, it's probably terrible. Man. You know what I'm saying? But it sparked that professionalism in me. That's why I was like, when I saw you guys and what you were doing, like I was like, who mixed that? Yeah. Who produced that? I want to know who the producer. And back then we can find out. We just open the book. That's right. And see who produced, who mixed, who did the photography. That's right. You know what I mean? Like I literally followed everything you did.
I remember those conversations.
I did everything you did because you were doing it on that level. Yeah. And so those type of things inspired me, man. That's what made me say, oh, I'm going to do this for real. And I started trying it out, man, and I got better. Me and my buddy Teddy, we got better at it. And next thing I know, we dropped the album, and the city went crazy about it. That's right. And when I saw the city turn out, I knew I had something special.
Absolutely. You, I remember that movement like firsthand.
Thank you.
And I remember specifically, you know, just the graduation of the production. Yeah. I was like, okay. I think Ted was trying to give me some tracks, and I was listening. I was like, keep going. Keep working. Yeah. Like, and he was like, man, come on, man. You gotta do this work with me.
That's him.
And I was like, bro, you got it. You got it. But I knew I was at another level at that time. Yep. So I was like, man, just keep going. Like I knew I'm looking for the guys I'm working with, I'm having to go all over the country, finding different producers to get the sound I wanted. But I remember having these conversations with you guys and really encouraging you because I thought y'all was dope from the jump. I'm like, man, y'all got the sauce.
Yeah.
And y'all took that to the next level, specifically what you're doing. So let's talk about how you, I mean, obviously grew up in the church, but you had this real big R&B influence, of course, in a gospel background. How were you able to merge that, and what was that experience like, obviously being a church kid?
Yeah, it was a bit easy. I think that merge of it kind of came natural for me. I didn't really have to work too hard at like making that R&B sound mixed with the gospel message. It was really the hardship of it, you know, because when I started doing this is like 2007, 6 or so. There wasn't a sound like that. And so I was getting a lot of backlash for that. You know what I'm saying? Like back then, you know, they were saying things like, oh, this is the devil and this is the Illuminati. This is Illuminati was out. Oh, this is Illuminati. I'm getting all kind of messages on YouTube and everything. But I was also receiving a lot of positive things, you know, and I think that honestly, it's like, not to say that I paved this way, but when you're paving that way, man, I mean, you just got to keep going through it. And eventually, you know, a path is open and now we have a street. You know what I'm saying? Like now there's a street there and then now it's my own street. You know what I'm saying? So I'm really grateful that I kept it going because I think if I wouldn't have, there wouldn't be this, what they call now, there's a Christian R&B space. You know what I'm saying? And so the kids now that are doing that, you know, they're able to just drop records, streaming, going crazy. They're getting record deals. And I'm like, man, this is what I saw back then. And so it's really an honor that I'm still able to do it. So I'm excited about where it is, where we are in the space, and the fact that I'm able to be kind of the leader of it. Really.
I think about you know, the gospel groups that growing up that I listened to that really inspired even my sound to this day. Commission. You know, the Winans. The Clark Sisters. Like I looked at them with the same reverence as I did Jodeci, Boyz II Men, Drew Hill, 112, any other group. And honestly, those same groups inspired those guys.
Absolutely.
Right. So I know the pedigree of all that, and all that inspired me. I can hear that in your lineage as well. I remember, and I know this for a fact, how church people or church members, older people specifically, didn't really get down with Kirk Franklin. They didn't get down with, you know, with Ty Tribbett. Or they didn't really understand what it is.
For sure.
You came with that same freedom and tenacity to be different. Tell me a story, or tell us some of the adversities you dealt with trying to pave that way.
It was a lot. I mean, I couldn't do Sunday morning services anymore with my music. You know what I mean? It just wasn't, it just didn't work. You know what I'm saying? And so it actually kind of forced me to build a fan base on my own, because I was so used to singing in church, and everybody was also used to me doing covers in church. And so they thought my album was going to be like that. I grew up singing Stand by Donnie McClurkin and, you know, and William Murphy, all of this stuff, man. And so when my album dropped, I think a lot of the church thought it was going to be like that, but it was 808s and auto-tune and snaps and bass, and they were like, whoa, what is this? What happened? And so, you know, I did deal with a little bit of that, and I think it actually kind of forced me out of my hometown. Because when I would go visit other places, or I was booked in other places, they understood the message.
More progressive.
It was more progressive cities. And so I was like, man, I really have to leave. I feel like if I go to a city like Atlanta or a major city, I may be able to take this to another level. And I made the move, man. And I think moving to Atlanta really changed everything for me, because when I got here, I was embraced. You know, I was embraced, and I was meeting other songwriters and producers and even artists that grew up on the music that I grew up on, like Commission, and everybody like, bro, you like Commission again, and you like this again, you know, you know, like Dawkins and Dawkins, like, and so I was like, yeah, y'all understand me, you know what I'm saying? And so what's crazy is, you know how it works when you leave the city and you do well after that, and then now everybody that's not a city is like, we knew it.
That's right.
I was like, did you?
That's right.
Did you know? Y'all was kicking me out of church, but nah, it's I'm blessed, man, now to be able to do what I do. And I love my city. You know, sometimes when people don't understand, I don't really take that to offense.
Of course.
I knew I had something special from the start, man. And,
Well, you've raised a new generation,
indeed,
of artists, like guys like yourself coming behind people like me. A whole new generation of guys, you know, they come up under you.
Yes.
And I've had conversations recently. They're like, yeah, man, like I'm trying to be like Jor'dan Armstrong. I'm like, man, Jordan, that's my dog.
Yes, yes.
So that's love.
Yeah.
So I do want to give a shout out to guys like Dietrich Haddon.
Oh, for sure.
Jay Moss.
My brothers.
These guys, they also kind of paved the way even before us, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Opening that urban inspiration. Gospel labels didn't know how to.
They didn't know where to even market this.
That's right.
And that was an issue with me. That's why I've never been signed.
Yeah.
And now I'm in such a good space to where I don't really want to be.
Yeah.
Or I would entertain a conversation, but it just doesn't really make sense completely at this time for me, because back then I remember I met with everybody. I went to New York, I went to Nashville, I was in LA, I met with everybody. And when I would meet with them, they would love the music and, you know, they wanted to change it. You know what I'm saying? To fit into the genre.
Right.
And so in my mind, you know, it just didn't make sense for me. And so now I love the fact that I can do what I do. Independence is actually a major thing now in this world.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? You can literally survive independently, and you don't always need record labels anymore. I used to want a record deal so bad. Oh my God, if I get a record deal, it's it. We done. We out of here.
Yeah.
And so, you know, now I've been, you know, 10 plus 15 years really plus doing this. And it's been an amazing ride, man. And I love the fact that I can do it independently and I get to keep all the money.
Absolutely. Come on. Let's talk about, well, shoot, speaking of the money, what's the money looking like? Now, you've had like, what, 3 major Billboard
three number one records.
Tell me how that looks. So as an independent artist, you've had some major records, some major hits that's really gone crazy.
Yeah.
Talk about how that, from a financial standpoint, how that's benefited you and what that looks like.
It looks really great. It really does.
We're not gonna get specific on the
man,
numbers,
and listen, I don't know. I can't tell you what the price is, because honestly, it's different every time. So my first one was probably my biggest check, of course, I've ever seen for my own music.
Sure.
You know, and also I'm 100%er.
Yeah.
So, you know, I get to eat a lot of it. And so, like I'm writing it, producing it, so it's really all mine. It's all mine.
Absolutely.
And so I think that's what kind of hits a little different. A lot of other artists are usually just a writer, or they just don't write at all. They just go sing the song.
That's right.
And they're splitting it all kind of ways. And so I think that the fact that I'm able to eat as much as I am is because I own it all.
That's right.
But the genre, man, is not that lucrative.
Of course.
It isn't. It's small.
Yeah.
You know, there's only so much space on radio for us.
Yeah.
You know, there's only so long that we stay on the chart.
Yep.
You know what I mean? We don't get to have that year run like, you know, they do on R&B and hip hop.
Yeah.
So the space is small. It's really about, you know, hustling and the business side of it, which is something that I've learned throughout the years, because I think the talent was always there, but the business side I was really dumb to. I had no idea what I was doing. I was sing here for some money or sing there for some money, and I thought that was the industry. But when I kind of got into the business side of it, I really started making some major plays and figuring out how the business works, and I've been able to eat from there. And so, but it's good, man. I don't know about the numbers. It's definitely 100 plus.
All that
100 plus for records,
Yeah.
at least. I'm talking about 100 plus for number one record. And I know people don't really talk about this in our genre, because, you know, the genre is all about God and, you know, about saving people and lives changing, but these folks making money.
Absolutely. And they should talk. The reason why I feel like they should talk about it, because you have if you want to keep the genre going as a business, as a music business, right? We understand what the message is. The message is an everlasting message.
That's right.
But in terms of the music business of it all, there's a reason why you sell tickets to a concert.
Absolutely.
There's a reason why, you know, there's a cost to putting this production together and so forth and so forth. So if you're going to be a singer, just go sing.
Yeah,
That's
right.
cool.
That's right.
If you're gonna be in the music business,
That's right.
we're gonna take care of some business.
That's right. And we should talk about the business more. You're right.
Absolutely.
Like when I say things like it's 6 figures for #1 records, that may actually inspire somebody even more. I know it's not all about that, but that inspires me.
Absolutely.
Every morning I wake up, I'm inspired by God
Absolutely.
and by money to provide for my family.
Yeah.
So, I think we should have that conversation, man. We don't talk about it enough.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times it's just about serving and not about how you can live.
Well, when I think about a lot about gospel greats, and we've been around them my whole life.
Yeah.
They broke.
Yep.
And I mean,
Yep.
their songs have been sang all over the world.
Yeah, man.
In every church on every Sunday.
Yes.
Nobody's paying no PROs.
Exactly.
Nobody's, you know what I'm saying? It's on every radio station, but they're not getting royalty checks.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
They should be multi-platinum, and a lot of these guys should be really, really financially successful.
That's right.
And they're having to stay on the road.
Yep.
At some of them are in their 50s, 60s, 70s, and they've been in the game 30, 40 years.
You spot on.
So we have to talk about
Yep.
how to understand the business,
Yeah.
how to make money so that our future generations don't make those same mistakes.
I have these conversations with a lot of the greats.
Yeah.
And so I'm really close with people like Donald Lawrence, Kirk, these guys I talk to and I ask questions.
Yeah.
And, and they kind of give me how they started. Of course, now they're in such great spaces, but,
Right.
it's a lot of albums they gave away.
That's right.
It's a lot of deals that were terrible for them, in the
Absolutely.
beginning. And so I asked those kind of questions like, so what are you just getting your publishing? Kirk, like, I'm still waiting on publishing for this album or these great, I'm talking about these mega albums he had.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Like, these guys talk to me about this stuff, but the world, I think, needs to know about that and just to be aware and to make better decisions, especially in independency, like being independently dropping music like this.
Yeah.
Like, you gotta know, you gotta ask questions. And so I've been able to make really good decisions learning from the OGs.
Yeah, absolutely.
Speaking
of Kirk, so talk about how I guess influential someone like Kirk Franklin, Lecrae, and even upwards of Kanye West has been on your career.
Kanye. Now I go off Kanye first. Kanye was definitely an influence for me because I'm a producer too. So I think out the gate from day one, I was inspired by Kanye's production and just his mind as far as music goes.
Yeah.
And that inspired me. And of course, when he came over to the gospel side, he came to Atlanta. He was at New Birth. Shout out to those folks over at New Birth. I really went there because I wanted him to sign my shoes.
Yeah. Okay.
Like, I'm gonna just be 100. I went to go say it's a free Kanye concert.
Yeah.
I've been at church all my life.
Yeah.
I wasn't going there for church. I was going there to see Kanye West. So I go there to see Kanye, and when I saw him, man, he seemed so authentic about where he was, and I truly believe that he was.
Yeah.
At that time.
I
do.
Right.
I think it was so real, and that inspired me even more. Like, I was just like, wow, Kanye is a person that's actually saying the name of Jesus. Like, he named his album Jesus is King. Like,
that's right.
I'm a Christian artist, and I don't have an album that say nothing about Jesus specifically like that. I always was trying to figure out ways to kind of get my music to break through, not just for Christians, but for people that would never step foot in the church or wouldn't even know who God is.
That's right.
And so I was trying to figure out little ways to get to them. And here's a person that's very successful,
one of the biggest
in the world.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And he's saying the name of Jesus, and that really sparked me for sure. And it's crazy because that inspired me to make my record, the song My God. And all this time I was trying to break through at radio and do these things, and Kanye was talking about Jesus, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna say the name of God in my song, and I'll make it the hook.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, I need to proclaim that somebody just got into this.
I love that.
I've been knowing who God is.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so the moment I did that was my first big song. That song broke through. The moment I said the name of Jesus and God in my song, I went #1.
So let's do the deep dive on that record. So that's amazing.
Yeah.
And that's a testament. That's saying something actually really deep in God's timing, right?
Yes.
So you have My God.
Yeah.
I remember the music video came
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
I may have messaged you like, man, this is killer, right?
Thank you. Yeah, I remember that.
And you had Lil Yachty in the video.
Yeah.
Tell me how all that came to be.
All right, so Yachty's a believer. Believe it or not, I was working with this guy. He was mixing, and we had kind of a situation together, partnership. And he does all of their mixing for QC and all of these great things. So he already had a connection with these guys.
Gotcha.
From Lil Baby to to everybody over there at QC. They kind of run the game. And so he introduced me to Yachty, man. And me and Yachty shared some things actually before the video and even on the set. We shared some things about who God is in our lives, and we kind of really bonded with that. And so he was definitely down to do the video. I was actually trying to get him on the record, but I'm actually glad I didn't do it because he'd have had to have a piece of that. And I'm glad I got it all.
yeah.
But yeah, man, Yachty was just a natural thing, man. We both just kind of bonded on our relationship with God.
Yeah.
And sometimes it also teaches you how to not to judge a book by its cover.
100%.
I think Yachty's a rapper, and that's what he does for a living. That's his profession, but he knows who God is. And, I thought that was super dope. And that he joined the video, man, that was cool too, because it gave me a lot of cool points with all the folk over there.
No, absolutely. Yeah, I think somebody asked me, I can't remember. It's like, man, did Jor'dan sign the QC?
Yeah. Everybody thought that. Yeah.
I was like, I don't know what he's doing, but he killing it.
It was almost that.
Yeah.
They were definitely trying to step into that space. But again, my independency was just way better, to be honest.
And it's good to have affiliation.
Yeah, it is. And when I saw what they were gonna do, I was like, oh, I could do that.
Yeah.
Especially if I make a little bit more money, I can put that into this, and then we can kind of run that up, and then it kind of elevates me in kind of the same way, and I can still support my family.
Absolutely.
I've never been a big fan of, and not to say that they were gonna do this, but I've never been a fan of just signing it all away.
Yeah.
I knew so many people like that, man, and
Absolutely.
like we just said, people that are so famous, but broke.
That's right.
And I didn't want to do that. I would rather the money than the fame. And also I get to, introduce people to who God is. It's kind of like the best of both worlds.
Absolutely.
So I love it, bro.
Well, I know what I understood, I learned back then. Obviously, I've always been independent as well. Had opportunities, but none of those were right. And we sold, back then when we were selling the hard copy CD, I was leaving. When I was doing gospel, I was leaving churches with a bag.
Yeah.
When I was doing R&B before I was doing gospel, I was leaving clubs with a bag. We were selling out of the trunk. We were selling in stores. We were touring all over the place. And then, so we were making money. And I knew then, even when I came out with my independent gospel album, man, I sold more units than a lot of major gospel artists.
Y'all need to go listen to that album too. He just passed brushing over that. That album was fire. And he had this record, Take Time.
Yeah,
this record, oh my God, it was such a R&B smash. R&B, so Christian. This is before Christian R&B.
Yeah, man.
You know what I'm saying? He was killing it. You had great production. Shout out to
Chip Dixon for sure.
Chip, man, and all those guys, bro. I know I'm a fan. I'm gonna say what I gotta say. I'm a fan. I love that album. I love what you did, man. So kudos to you, bro. You inspired me. I'm gonna say that forever.
Yeah, thank you, bro.
Yeah,
thank you, bro. That's major, bro.
Yeah.
That's been almost 20 years.
I know.
That's crazy. Since I dropped that album. But I just remember putting music out then.
Yeah.
And again, being offered opportunities, but I'm like, yo, I've sold 40,000
Come on,
units.
bro. Come on, indie.
Out the trunk. You know what I'm saying? Like, we really over here working. Deal. So I learned that from Master P. Legit. I learned that from watching Cash Money before they blew.
Yeah.
So in terms of, that's why the independence is such a big thing. Now, in this new era, with streaming, it's a whole new world. I don't really have that down, but
man, it changes all the time. You know how this algorithm. There's an algorithm not just on social media, but it's also through streaming as well, through DSPs. And you got to kind of stay on your feet, man, because things are changing every few months, every year. You know, it's different. It's a different play to run. So, it is different. Like I was doing the CDs too. I kind of caught the tail end of it before we transitioned, which also helped me because in the gospel industry, you know, I mean, they were literally still selling CDs just 5 years ago.
That's right.
Even in stores.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so,
because it's also an older audience.
absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, grandmama and, you know, big mama and everybody, they go to the store and buy your CD. They love your album.
That's right.
And so, you know, I was kind of blessed because my audience was so young. I was actually streaming before a lot of gospel, even our greats.
Yeah.
I was streaming before them, before they actually got into streaming. So my audience already knew the stream.
That's right.
So when streaming came about and it blew up so big, I was already there.
That's right.
And so that really helped me out being an indie artist as well. So, you know, the trunk thing was really my thing because that's all I knew too.
That's right.
You know, I saw y'all doing that.
That's
I saw
right.
Master P. I remember being in the city. We would see them.
That's right.
You know, they lived in Baton Rouge.
That's right.
You know, I would go to Waffle House on College and
Yeah.
Mystical and
Yeah.
Silk the Shaka eating waffles.
That's
you know what
right,
I'm saying?
that's
Like
right.
that was inspirational to me. And so I seen them hustling.
Yeah.
And so that gave me that spark too.
Yeah.
But I'm actually grateful for streaming now. And I mean, you know, I know you say you ain't really into it, but
No, I'm into it. What I'm
Okay.
saying, obviously, I'm not pumping out as much music. That's
I
what I'm
got you.
saying.
Got
So,
you.
I'm,
That's the difference.
Yeah, yeah.
With the streaming thing, it's so fast.
Yeah.
You know, it's not. I grew up on, you know, dropping an album once every 2 years or a year or so
Right.
and letting it live.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And now, man, they're eating the songs up.
Yeah.
I'm dropping an album and a month later they like, when the new album
That's
drop?
right.
I'm like,
That's right.
gosh.
That's right. Have y'all settled in with this one?
Exactly. And so
Absolutely.
now my strategy has kind of been to break albums up. I still make albums,
Yeah.
but people don't know it.
That's
you know
right.
what I'm saying?
You
Like
got 12 songs, drop 4, drop 4.
there you go. And now it just feels like I've been consistent the entire year, but that was really my whole album.
Yeah.
You know, so it's just different things you have to pick up and different strategies, bro, to keep up, man, because the streaming world is fast, bro.
I'm cooking right now.
Okay.
Relax.
Okay, because
You know what I mean?
can I get a call?
Come on.
Can somebody call me? I'm trying to be on.
Come on. Hey,
At
say
least
less.
some. Can I add a hi-hat?
Say less. Say
All right.
less. We cooking right now, and I'm
Okay.
really happy with what we're
Yes.
working on.
Oh, dope.
So let's get into some hot takes, bro. Like,
Let's go.
so we're gonna talk since you're a bridge. You're to me, you know, R&B artist,
Yeah, yeah.
and you're a gospel artist.
Yeah.
So give me like your Rushmore of gospel artists.
Rushmore.
Actually, you know what? Well, gospel artists.
Yeah.
'Cause
And that's
singers,
for
that's too hard to do.
Oh yeah, singers gonna be crazy. And gospel.
Yeah, and gospel, right.
Everybody can sing.
Yeah.
And that's 4 people,
That's
right?
4,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I would say, and this is singers. This is
Artists. Let's do
artists. I'm
artists.
sorry,
Let's do
artists.
artists.
Artists. I'm gonna go with, of course, Kirk.
Yes.
I think Kirk is the GOAT, and even though he's not much of a singer, his pen has just been the soundtrack of gospel music for over the last 30 plus years,
That's right,
man.
for
And
sure.
so, you know, I think that he's just really amazing at what he does. So Kirk Franklin, of course, is number 1.
Big up to Kirk.
Yeah, number 2 is would have to be Donald Lawrence. I feel like Donald is kind of the same way. You know, his pen, he really has a really great gift of reading scripture and turning it into a record. And that's really hard sometimes because scripture in the Bible isn't really like it's not a lot of rhyming, it's not a lot of anything. It's really messages.
That's right.
And so he's done a great job of almost like a filmmaker turning a book into a movie.
Yeah.
You know, he does that really well with his writing. So Donald is probably number 2.
Amazing conductor.
Oh yeah, man. Oh my God, amazing conductor. He knows how to put things together. I've never seen him play an instrument, but he's almost like you know, like the greats. He puts every piece together and the
right.
song together. So that's Donald, number 2. Number 3, I would go with Jay Moss.
Come on.
Yeah, man. When Jay came out,
Yeah.
I felt like, oh my goodness. I thought I was on to something. But
Yeah.
when Jay dropped, I was like, ooh, and he can sing,
Yeah.
you know, and his message was still about Jesus too.
That's right.
You know, and so he really inspired me vocally. He's also an amazing writer and amazing producer. Him and
right.
his team, Pajam, man, they've been killing it from all the who was it, Backstreet, NSYNC,
NSYNC, Backstreet Boys,
yeah,
Boyz
everybody.
II Men.
Yes. Yes.
I ironically was talking with PDA.
Really?
Yeah, a couple weeks ago because I want to get them on the show.
Yes, you should.
They're in Detroit, so it's like
Yeah.
we have to try
Oh,
to
yeah,
figure
yeah.
that out.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, man.
I love those guys.
Those guys for sure. So J Moss number 3, and I would say last but not least, Ty Tribbett.
Yes.
I think Ty really came in the game so different. It was almost like he was a mixture of Kirk, Donald, and he also had this production, and I'm not talking about just the music, because the music they made was phenomenal, but production wise, like they will put on a show. You know, like him and his group, like they would come out. I mean, they had everybody wearing bow ties, and they came and really changed the game as far as even the style in gospel. You know, we started wearing rolling our pants up, bow ties and vests and everything. You know, going to school vibes, and so. He really changed the game, and even talking with him, he's one a good friend of mine as well. You know, talking with him, I talked with Kirk, and Kirk was like, "Bro, the first time I heard Ty, I was nervous." I was like, I said, "Yeah, I bet you were." You know what I'm saying? Because Ty really helped change the game, man. So that would be probably my top 4.
No, that's huge.
For
so
sure.
The bridge to that, what's your top, I guess, Rushmore of R&B guys?
Oh my goodness.
Artists.
Artists. I start off with Usher.
Come on.
And that's more my time. Usher, I thought was great from the start. Even as a kid, you know, I thought he was special. But when My Way dropped, because I know a lot of people are really big on Confessions, which is a phenomenal album.
Absolutely.
But I started at My Way, and I thought he was really cool. He was young. He had a vibe. He could sing. You know, he could dance. He could do all of these great things. And so, My Way was probably my favorite first album that I heard from Usher. And of course, he went on to become one of the greatest ever.
Yes.
But even to this day, he's still, you know, sharp.
That's right.
He's still sharp.
10 out of 10.
Bro, like it's amazing. So number 1, Usher. Number 2, I would say Chris.
Come on.
Chris is more on a young vibe here. Chris is younger than me.
Yeah.
And I look up to him. I'm inspired by Chris. I think he's taken a lot of people before us, you know, from Michael to Usher to, you know, a lot of great artists like that, and kind of created his own thing with it.
Absolutely.
And so Chris is definitely my number 2. He's great at what he does, and I'm hearing that he's kind of self-sufficient as well. You know, I don't know if he's like producing, but he's writing and recording himself and coming up with the ideas. I mean, he's an artist. He draw. You know what I'm saying? He's really great at a lot.
Special.
Yeah. So Chris, number 2. Man, I don't want to be, because then I'm going into singers. I really want to stay in
just overall artist.
Overall Michael.
Come on.
The MJ, you know, the GOAT.
Yeah.
Even though he's number 3 on my list, he could be number 1 on a Saturday for me.
Absolutely.
But Michael, I think, inspired us all.
Yeah.
Even if you weren't a musician or you didn't want to be an artist, I mean, we all wanted to wear a glove.
Yeah.
At some point, we all wanted to moonwalk.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? I still have, to this day, I always wanted some sparkly socks.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And penny loafers. My mom used to try to make me wear penny loafers, and I didn't want to wear them. And then I saw Michael wearing them, and she's like, "Oh, you want to wear penny?" I was buying all the penny loafers as a kid. So Michael's the GOAT, man. I think that, you know, a lot of times he gets compared, you know, and honestly, GOATs get compared.
That's right.
That's kind of a thing, you know. We compare everybody to Kobe, compare people to Jordan, you know. But I think he was great in his own, and I know there's been a talk now. About who's the GOAT, who's better, Chris or Michael.
That's right.
And honestly, and I heard, I think Tank said something about, you know, he had all these amazing producers, and that's why he had the top of the line everything.
Right.
And honestly, man, you still have to be great.
You still have to do it.
You still have to do it. And he did it first.
I said like this. When you look at a measuring stick, a meter, and you have 1 inch, 2 inch, you measure, right?
Yeah.
Michael Jackson is the measuring stick.
Absolutely.
So you can't compare. You can't measure him.
There's no
is the
comparison.
measuring stick.
Absolutely.
You can put Usher, Chris Brown, or everybody behind him on it and measure them, and everybody is great in their own right.
For sure.
But MJ is the standard.
Absolutely, man.
And we all have taken something from him, whether it's a vocal inflection, whether it's just a energy. I remember recording something some time ago, and I think Ted was joking with me. I go, I do that on the track, and he was like, why you? He said, you do it on the
Yeah,
track or
yeah.
whatever. And then when I think about it, I'm like, maybe I got that from MJ. I don't really know where I get it from.
Yeah.
But it's like just like you're feeling whatever it is. MJ
Yeah, man.
sold us that.
He did.
You know?
He did a great job of doing that, man. And you know, and I didn't mean to go off on
No,
this,
no.
but MJ is just, you know, inspirational from everything. I mean, from even the way he dressed,
Yeah.
even the way he sang. Because even if I can listen to a Michael Jackson, since they're talking about all these great producers and musicians he had, I would listen to an acapella.
That's right.
And it sounds amazing.
Yeah,
and that's
absolutely.
Michael.
That's MJ.
Alone.
Yeah, all
And
the
it sounds,
harmonies.
oh my goodness, the way he performed vocally
Yeah.
was just so special, and it was second to none.
That's
Nobody has ever sounded like that, and they never will.
That's right.
You know, we got a little bit of Weeknd. He got a little bit of my
Little bit,
MJ, but
absolutely.
he ain't MJ.
That's right,
You
that's
know,
right.
so yeah, MJ is number 3. He's very special to me. Like I said, he could possibly be number 1 tomorrow for me. And so number 4, I would have to go with. Man, I gotta choose wisely. This number 4. It's the last one.
No wrong answers.
Beyonce.
I knew you was gonna say that.
Really? Did you?
I do.
So I'm not a huge fan of Beyonce's vocal.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan. She has a lot of great records. I've heard her ability. She's great at what she does.
Absolutely.
I'm just not a huge fan of it, but I am a huge fan of the things that she's
For
done.
overall artistry.
Oh my goodness. You know, the work she puts in, you know, how hard she works. And again, I feel like a lot of that comes from Michael too.
No question.
You know, when we got a chance to finally see Michael's process right before he passed, you know, watching that DVD or that documentary, it was really fly because we get to see him talk to musicians. We get to see him in rehearsal, how serious he took rehearsal, how serious he was with the musicians to make sure it sounds like the record.
That's right.
Like I think that inspired people like Beyonce to be great. You know, it inspired people like Usher to be great. It inspired Chris. It inspired everybody on that list. I said
It shows the genius.
Yeah.
Specifically, we've seen Beyonce do this, but MJ, really all of these guys, but specifically say like they're talking to the band.
Yes.
Like doom, da, da, ba, doom, da,
Yes.
da, dee.
Yes.
You know, they know what break, they know this, they
Yep.
know that. All those little nuances
Yeah.
that, you know, the public doesn't necessarily understand.
Absolutely.
Musicians understand.
Right. And I think watching that inspired me, and I'm sure that inspired Beyonce. So I love what she does, man. You know, I love the Beehive. She has a diehard fan base. I mean, they would probably take a bullet for Beyonce. They so serious.
She might have the second biggest or second most exciting fan base to MJ.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
in terms of fan base
I agree.
energy,
I agree.
Kanye probably in there too. But
Kanye in there.
with his fan base.
Kanye
You know what
in
I'm
there,
saying?
yeah, fan base for sure. Kanye can drop a location today, and I mean, it's 10, 30,000 people there.
Absolutely.
You know, so yeah, he has that as well. But yeah, man, Beyonce is probably my number 4, and she's really great. I love what she does. I love her records. You know what I'm saying? And she's special, bro. And I love the fact too that she kind of plays this old school stardom. You know, like she's hidden.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
'Cause
saying?
she comes from
And she
that
pop
school.
out. Yes.
And although she's still a newer, or I guess a modern artist,
Yes,
but Beyonce's 30 years essentially in the game as
Absolutely.
well. About 30 years.
Absolutely. And she pop out, and when she pop out, she show niggas.
Yeah, absolutely. That's
She
right.
win.
Pop out.
Yeah,
Come on.
yeah.
I love it. So if you could remake, so, you know, one of my favorite songs is Favor.
Okay. All right.
So when I listen to Favor, obviously when I hear Favor, it reminds me of Jodeci. It reminds me of New Jack Swing.
Yeah.
It reminds me of that, just
Yeah.
that era, that
Yeah.
time. And I know it went crazy,
Yeah.
viral, and everybody really loves that song.
Thank you.
So if you could take a song with the same type of formula, if you could remake a gospel album from
One of my gospel albums or anyone.
somebody
Okay.
else, let's say
All
it's
right.
Kirk, let's say it's Fred Hammond,
Yeah.
whoever, and you could do that, like, is there one in mind that you're like, man, you know what, I could do, because I actually might have just gave you an idea.
You did.
You messed around there and flipped Spirit
I
of
already
David.
and I was finna say Melodies from Heaven, that whole project that I forgot the name of that album by Kirk.
Yeah,
I would
I remember that. I know the album. Okay,
yeah, but I would love to possibly dive into that project and like just remake all of that stuff in my way, because it honestly had a really big R&B feel to it, believe it or not. So shout out to him and Sean, and God rest Sean's soul, man, he passed away, but
yeah,
they were really mixing and blending that at that time the R&B sound with the gospel message too, but they were a choir.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? In a group. And so yeah, that project Oh yeah, I would dive into that because the chord structures and things is already there.
Already there.
You know what I'm saying? I would just modernize that and change a couple melody. Yeah. That's a vibe. That can slide today
in the club.
In the club
right now. Yeah.
Hey, I remember I was in Rags. Shout out to Baton Rouge. I used to go to Club Rags with all the OGs, and they would play Stomp in there to send us home.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like for real. So yeah, that album for sure. Shout out to Kurt, bro.
That's what's up. All right, we have a segment called Respect the Pen Game.
Okay.
So you have a record, On My Mind, featuring Kenyon Dixon.
Oh yeah, my brother.
Shout out to Kenyon Dixon. That's my guy.
Yeah.
So tell me how you guys came up with that concept.
Well, I actually met Kenyon out here when I first moved to Atlanta. I was in a writing camp with this guy by the name of Kendrick Dean. He used to work a lot with B. Cox and Jermaine Dupri, and so this is my kind of like my first big camp. I didn't grow up doing camps. When I came to Atlanta, there were camps all day, every day.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I got to get one of these camps because I can get a placement possibly. Right. So I go to this camp, man, and Kenyon's there, and he was young. This dude was cold, man. He was just writing songs on the spot. He'd just go in the booth and sing a whole song. Yeah. I was like, this is really dope. So this is somebody I feel like I wanted to be connected with and learn from.
Yeah.
And so I definitely pulled a lot of things from him. So when I first moved to Atlanta, we kind of really locked in. And at that time, we would all stay at this big house. We would stay at Kendrick's house.
Yeah.
And we kind of would bond. We would eat lunch together. We write some songs. We eat dinner, write songs. So anyway, man, Kenyon at that time was just a songwriter.
Yeah.
And so he started doing records with, and y'all know his story. He was on here. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But he started doing records and writing for Tank and TGT and Tyrese and all these great people.
Justin Timberlake.
Yeah, Justin. And so, it was really dope because I saw him transition from being a writer and also growing in his writing, not just for other people, but even for himself. And then he became an artist and really took it serious. I was really glad when he started taking it serious because I knew he was great.
Yeah.
And so kind of just knowing him from the start, man, it was kind of an easy connection. I was like, hey, bro, I love what you're doing. You're really killing it. Like he's really doing really well in the R&B space. And I thought it'd be a great collab, man, especially for me doing Christian R&B. And I know he has a Christian background too. We shared that.
That's right.
And he comes kind of from where I'm from, with our background.
That's
right.
And
it made sense to me.
Yeah.
And so it was an honor to have him be a part of what I was doing because I think he's great, man.
Yeah.
I really do.
So in terms of like the concept of that particular song.
Oh yeah. On My Mind, and thank you, because I get off.
No, you're good. You're good.
Yeah, but On My Mind was, I just felt like that was his pocket. You know what I mean? Like, I came mostly from the producer side of it, not really like, is this going to be great or inspirational?
Gotcha.
I think I was thinking of like, oh yeah, this is like a real R&B feel. I think Kenyon could really, ride the track really on this one. And so melodically, I thought he would be great. And so when I sent it to him, he loved it. He was like, oh yeah, I can do it. Even though he has a song called On My Mind already.
Okay, I didn't realize that.
Yes, yes. So I was like, bro, I know it's the same name. I'm gonna just call it OMM. You know what I'm saying? So we can be a little different. But man, he jumped on it, and I think that I felt like he would just be the perfect fit for it, bro. Like, it's really nothing more I could really explain about it.
Yeah.
I just felt like that was a perfect match for us, and I had been waiting for years to kind of do something with him, and he laced it, man.
I love it. Both of y'all, my guys, two special, extremely special talents.
Yeah.
Having him on the show and really just listening to all the contributions that he's been putting out over the last couple of years.
Bro, he's killing it.
Out of here.
He's killing it.
So what do you have coming next?
So next, man, I've been doing a lot of songwriting. I've really tapped into that. Especially since I become a dad, man. So thank you, bro. Appreciate that. I'm a father now, and I think it kind of changed me a lot. Who knew it would change you? Like I mean, you're a dad, bro.
Instant.
At first, it was literally like I was living my life.
A daughter too?
Yes.
Instant.
I know, bro. It's insane. So before that, me and my wife, we've been married probably like 8 years now. Mm-hmm. And even though we've been married, it still just felt like it's me and my girl. You know what I mean? We traveling, we have fun, we stay up all night, we do what we want to do. And so when baby girl was born, it really changed me, because I used to do a lot of shooting from the hip. You know, let's see if this worked. Let's try that out. And now when she arrived, bro, it was like, I have to hit a target. You know, now I have a family. Now it feels like I have a family. Who knew one more addition makes it a family?
Yeah.
You know, and so it really put me into overdrive, and I started really getting into my bag of songwriting and producing for other artists. And I think too, what really helped after the 3 #1 singles at radio, people started to hit me up because they wanted that sound, that feel. And I think when I figured out what radio really wanted from me, that's when things started to change. After I saw the success of My God, I was like, oh, y'all like that? Oh, I could make them all day. And so once I figured out my formula, I turned it up. And so now people want that. So I've been really diving into that, man. I got a lot of records I just did for my sister, Kiara Sheard.
Nice.
Shout out to her. Jay Drew, Pharrell's working on albums with us and with them as well.
Nice.
So it's really dope. Kiara, I got like 2 other records too that are on radio right now that I did for some other artists that are in the genre, and they're doing really well, man. So really catalog. I've been living off of my catalog, and honestly, I look up to people like, you know, Eric Dawkins and people of that nature, who you can go on to Songview. And literally put in Eric's name, and I mean, it's hundreds of pages.
One of the greatest ever.
It's hundreds of pages, and he's just one of the greats that does this. And I started realizing that, you know, my catalog alone may not be enough. It's enough for me now, you know, but I would love to leave a huge, great catalog to my family, to my kids, and to my daughter now. And to who, you know, my son, when we have a son or whatever. And so that's really what I'm on right now, man. So I've been working a lot with a lot of other artists and writing and producing. So that's what I'm on until next year. Top of the year, I'll be dropping an album.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, bro.
Jordan, bro, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you. I
done made it to Can We Talk R&B. Listen, I'm happy, bro. Thank you for having me, dog.
No, absolutely. Guys, this is a continued conversation. You already know what it is. I got my brother,
yes, sir,
Jor'dan Armstrong, in the building. Can we talk R&B?
Can we talk? Oh, can we talk? Can we talk?